Detective Joshua Bontrager was a veteran of nearly 7 years in the PPD homicide unit. Before that, he had worked in the traffic unit. He'd been called up to homicide to work on a case that took investigators into his home county of Berks, a case that called upon Josh's unique qualifications, credentials no other homicide detective in Philadelphia, or for that matter most of the world, could provide. Josh Bontrager had grown up in an Amish family. And while he had left the church before entering the academy, in the time Jessica had known him, he had transformed from a country boy into a streetwise detective, capable of holding his own with the hard realities of investigating homicides in a city like Philadelphia. There was, however, one vestige of his former life that was hard for anyone in the squad to believe. In his entire time in the homicide unit, no one had ever heard Josh Bontrager swear. Not once. He'd come close a few times, switching over to darn or heck or shoot at the last second. And if there was a record made to be broken, this was the one. A universal trait for law enforcement worldwide was the ability to curse creatively and at prodigious length. There had been a pool ongoing for years about when Josh Bontrager would utter his first fuck. If you heard Josh Bontrager come close to swearing but not pull the trigger, you had to add $1 to the pot. The pool was over $600, with no limit in sight. If you were in the room and closest to the pot when it happened, you got the money, which would certainly be donated to your favorite charity, which, by default, was the Police Athletic League. As Jessica and Byrne walked into the duty room, they saw Josh Bontrager poring over a binder, lost in thought. "Joshua Bontrager," Jessica said. Bontrager jumped a foot. "What? Are you growing a beard?" Josh Bontrager was very fair, and his beard was sandy, almost blonde. He turned a scarlet red. "It's not a beard, it's, a goatee." "Same thing, isn't it?" Bontrager reflexively stroked his chin. "Well, not really. Amish men grow beards." "I thought you were Amish." "Not technically, not anymore." Jessica gave him a few angles. "It looks really good. Really sexy." Another blush. With Josh Bontrager, it was like flipping a light switch, on, off. There was no setting for medium. "Thanks." Jessica let him off the hook. She pointed to the binder on the desk. "What do you have?" she asked. "Got a victim down on North Marston, first floor of an abandoned building," Bontrager said. He pulled a few crime scene photographs out of the envelope. "The victim was stabbed in the eyes." "The ME said that's the cause of death?" Bontrager nodded. "He believes it was some kind of very long knife that was pushed into the guy's eyes so deeply it went right into the victim's brain." "Lovely," Jessica said. "He's thinking an 8-inch blade, but thin." Jessica looked at the photographs. They were horrifying. The victim was a white or Hispanic male, perhaps in his late teens. He was slumped against a graffiti-covered wall near the door. There were thick washes of blood down his face onto what had been at one time a light-colored shirt. What had once been his eyes were now purplish-black holes. "Any idea on the victim?" Byrne asked. "Not yet. There are a lot of cars parked in the street. We're running them now." "Are you thinking he was a gangbanger?" Bontrager shook his head. "It doesn't look like it. No gang tats." "Any witnesses?" Byrne asked. Bontrager slipped the crime scene photos back into the binder. "Mass amnesia, like always." "Did you canvass already?" "Yeah, neighborhood interviews are done, the first round anyway." "If you need any warm bodies," Byrne added. "Thanks." Conducting neighborhood interviews were always, at the very least, a two-stage process. In a city like Philadelphia, or any large city populated by people working all 3 shifts, it was in a detective's best interest.